Hello ink lovers and welcome back to my studio. My name is Lambda Maria and this is the first of several Inktober 2020 videos to come. For this video I'll be going over some tips and supplies that I'll be using for the month of October. The very first thing that I recommend you do before starting your Inktober journey is organize your art space. If you're anything like me, then this is probably what your desk looks like after a big project, and now is a great time to break that habit. Trying to get through Inktober with this much clutter can be both demoralizing and distracting. So it's important to remember to start this challenge with a clean slate. Secondly, you'll want to create a plan for accountability. Whether or not you share your Inktober progress on social media is entirely up to you, but sharing your goals with friends and family may make you a lot less likely to back out at the last second. They can also help to keep you motivated by becoming a sounding board for your ideas, or by making sure you get the alone time needed each day for your drawings. Next up are the supplies that I'll be using to complete my Inktober journey. Firstly, my iPhone, which is what I use to do all of my videos, my tablet, which is where I've been doing all of my Inktober sketches, this light pad, which I'll use to transfer my sketches onto watercolor paper. Then I have this little iPhone stand for recording, and my hair dryer to dry my layers of ink in between washes. And it never hurts to have a little bit of tech support on hand just in case one of these things fails you. You'll want to have a few containers nearby to store any supplies or extra water that you might need while you're inking. Here I have a variety of pickle jars and coffee mugs, and then these two twisters containers that I found at my local art supply store. They're stackable and you can seal them off, so I'm using them to create diluted ink washes so that I can get a varied set of tones. Oh, and don't forget your spray bottle, you're probably going to need it. Next up are just a few tools that I want to keep on hand. I'm not sure if I'll use them all, but things like the toothbrush are good for splattering. That is the Winsor & Newton liquid frisket and the amazing nib to pull it off. Mechanical pencil and eraser for transferring the line art to my watercolor paper. And then this is actually a nail pusher. I could not find my letter opener, which is what I use to peel the watercolor from the board, but that's what that's for. Then I have a variety of brushes. I don't believe in spending tons of money on brushes, but I just use whatever brushes I can find, anything that should make a thin, smooth line. Then we have the pens. These are my Sakura Micron pens. They are all the same color purple. I'm not sure why that 01 size has a different color cap, but they're all the same color purple. These are the Stabilo fine liners, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use these, but they're all the purple ones that I have, along with this Prismacolor purple marker with a fine tip and a fat tip. Again, not sure if I'm going to use them, but purple ink, I just rather have it on hand just in case. This is a little bit of cardboard that I'll be using to tape down my watercolor paper. The watercolor paper that I'm using this time around is fluid watercolor paper. It is 140 pounds. The size that I'm going with is 8x8, and there is exactly 15 sheets in both of these, so I don't have room to mess up. I also bought a little 4x6 set of paper as well, just to test out my supplies on. Next up we have just some washi tape and some masking tape, and then our inks, the Dr. P.H. Martin's India inks. I I have in the pen white to fix any mistakes, and then the violet because I'm going to be inking in purple. The great thing about this ink is that it's dark enough that it almost looks black from a distance, but when you want to do a wash, you get a beautiful purple tone. And as a kind of bonus, I'll be using my Colero metallic watercolor palettes. These are going to be kind of the accent colors for each piece. I'll be using one accent color with each portrait. You can see here I did previously test out the colors on white and black paper because at the time I wasn't sure which I was going to use, but as you can see I settled on white. When all of your supplies are set up and you've decided all the things you need, you can set up your workspace, and I took this picture to remind me what my workspace should look like at the end of each session so that it's ready to go the next day. The last tip I have for you is to remember to test your supplies. There's nothing worse than getting an unexpected bloom or grainy texture in ink that you can't remove. It's always good to practice with your ink and your tools beforehand so that way you'll know what to expect. And this is what I meant about that ink. You get a nice deep color, but then when you dilute it with some water, you get some pretty lavender tones too. Next up, I'm testing all the pens, so I'm starting with the Stabilo. This dark purple actually looks like your classic like blue pen, so I probably won't be using that at all. This second one, which is like the number 55, is probably the closest match to the ink that I have, and then there's some variation. The Micron, I'm positive that I'll be using at one point or another, and I've got it in the 3 different sizes, 01, 05, and the brush nib. And then the Prismacolor is definitely more of like a berry purple tone. So again, not sure if I'll use it, but it'll be good to have. Here I'm just testing Colero colors again, checking for transparency through the dark purple ink and just seeing how much coverage I get. And then I'm also going through and checking for coverage in the reverse order to see if I can get solid lines with the inks on top. And this is pretty much it. These are all of the supplies that I'll be using. I kind of put everything else away so that it doesn't distract me and I'm not tempted to throw in some more watercolor or add some other strange colors. It's going to be purple with the metallics, and that's going to be my Inktober. As always, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video showing you my supplies. I wish you all the best of luck if you're participating in Inktober. And if you have any questions about the supplies or my other strategies, stay tuned. I'll be posting more Inktober videos very soon. Thanks again. Bye!